Kirby. I wanted to put out there a speech that I gave before the Dallas City Council last week, talking about s- some of the crime that we've had in Dallas, but it's duplicating all over this United States and major cities all over the United States. And the reason it's duplicating is because of policies that they're implementing. A lot of people say, why are these things happening in major cities in the U.S.? It's because of liberal policies that they've adopted, and it's no different in Dallas. But what's real key to help you understand this is some of the points that I hit in my speech. So I wanted to give my speech so that you can understand it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Honorable City Councilors, Mayor Johnson, Mr. Broadnax, the City Manager. In Jeremiah 29, verse 7, God instructs us to seek the peace and prosperity of your city. Even pray for it, for if it prospers, you will prosper. However, the inverse of that statement is true. Therefore, it should not be lost on any of you that there are 8 new faces on the council, because the citizens of Dallas have elected you to make the tough decisions to keep us safe. Today, you must act to remove Chief Hall and warn the Dallas County District Attorney, John Creuzot, to reverse his recent policy decisions. While I validate that white culture has existed, and including in the Dallas Police Department, I would argue that it is no time and no reason not that any time that we see bigotry and racism, that we must act with courage to challenge it. Therefore, what you cannot do is allow the fear of being labeled as a racist or a bigot or a sexist to stop you from taking the appropriate action to hold officials accountable for poor management practices that have nothing to do with their skin color or their race. City Hall has fully embraced the 21st century policing model, a model that changes the internal culture of the police department and its policies. The first pillar of this model is changing the officer culture from warrior to guardian. It's based on an assumption that officer and citizen will exchange legitimacy based off this new guardianship relationship. The police officer doesn't have to act as warrior anymore. He can be their guardian, and they're gonna give him legitimacy and respect. A serious flaw in this is that today many criminals and even in our case, many community members do not extend trust and legitimacy to police departments or police officers, and therefore when the police arrive on the scene, chaos ensues, and it's no exception in Dallas. Officers don't get backed by their police sergeants. The internal culture sours, and internal officers flee and internally, and in our Dallas is no exception, officers flee the department. We're almost 900 police officers short. In mid-April, Dallas County District Attorney John Creuzot, a Democrat, announced that he will no longer prosecute thefts under $750 and also decriminalize many other minor crimes. Criminal trespass, for example, he said we're not going to prosecute them at all, and dropped hundreds of cases. Within a month, major retailers in Dallas closed, including Walmart. They closed a supercenter within 4 weeks. We have to deal with petty crimes, not ignore them, I argue, because they lead to larger crimes. It's no coincidence that crime is rising in Dallas. In Dallas, we've had 93 murders, 40 in the month of May alone. Assaults with guns are up 25%. Business robberies are up over 40%. Shoplifting is up 30%. While both the DA's 21st century model, the Chief's 21st century model, and the DA's refusing to support routine law and order, none of us should be surprised about spiking crime in Dallas. How many more murders, I ask? It seems that 13-year-old Malik Tyler will join the list of unarmed black men who die senselessly, with Alton Sterling and Philandro Castile. The people have spoken, and now it's up to you. And that was the end of my speech. But one of the real points here is we can't allow our fear of addressing previous wrongs. For our example, we have had white culture, white privilege, It does exist. If you don't believe that white privilege exists, just go to any grocery store and try to buy Band-Aids for any color skin other than light skin. But that doesn't mean that we should stop or refuse to address poor management practices, or that doesn't mean that we should continue to implement liberal policies that are not based on Judeo-Christian values or based on the Bible. What we're doing is we're throwing out law and order because we feel, and it's secular society's response to previous wrongs. In one case, white privilege, and secondly, just a complete removal from the Bible and from teaching godly values. And so it's kind of a 1-2 punch. But what we have to do is we have to restore traditional policing models with an understanding that all races and diversity is very important. We need to embrace it, but we also need to embrace it from a perspective of godly values and Christian values and Judeo-Christian values. So that's my speech. Have a good day.